Hello everyone, I am Geeta welcoming you to this session to discuss the concept of multiprocessor and characteristics of multiprocessor. To start with, what actually we mean by multi processor? So we have a computer system with single processor. Okay, if that is otherwise referred as uniprocess systems, and if it is possible to have more than one CPU and if they can be operated at the same time parallelly, then it is otherwise referred as multiprocessor. And obviously these processes can work in parallel, and another important advantage is they will be able to share the same clock pulse. If they are going to share the same clock pulse, they are going to operate in a synchronized fashion, and also they will have the common memory bus and also the peripheral devices, whatever the other facilities we have, every infrastructure will be shared by all these processes. Now I think this diagram can give you a good idea. We have CPU1, CPU2, CPU3, CPN. Like this we can have so many processors. All these processors are interconnected with each other, and they are supposed to have a common memory. So they are going to share this memory. The memory is going to be made available to all these processors, and as such we have the classification of this processor as symmetric or asymmetric. When it comes to the symmetric processor, as the name implies, we have all the processor with equal capability, same capability, and we will be having the similar copy of operating system taking care of the functioning of each of the processor. And all the processors are assumed to have peer-to-peer relationship. What actually we mean by this is there is no master-slave relationship. That means none of the processor is going to be the master, none is going to be the slave. That means all the processors will have equal capability and all are going to be master. Otherwise all are going to be master. And example of such symmetric multiprocessing system is ENCO version of Unix, the multimax computer. Like this we can have so many such typical cases available under symmetric category. Now comes asymmetric multiprocessor. So in asymmetric processor, each processor will be having some predefined task. They will be assigned with some predefined task, and there is a concept of master slave. That means among all the CPUs, definitely one will be acting as a master, and this is supposed to give instruction to all the processors, and the remaining processors who receive instruction from the master are going to be called as a slave processor. And whether it is symmetric or asymmetric, we have some specific advantages of multiprocessor system. As the name implies, we have more than one processor, so we can just rely more on this. That is a more reliable system. Why we talk as more reliable is, even in case if one processor is going to fail, the remaining processor is able to manage the situation, and therefore if the processor is going to fail, it is not going to bring the entire system into halt. So that's what we are able to provide reliability. And again the same thing can also be expressed in terms of graceful degradation. What we mean by graceful degradation is, even if one of the processor is going to fail, the entire system is not going to shut down, and the processor is continue to the processor all the processes will continue to work, and hence it is not going to affect the full shutdown of the system. Suppose for example, if we have five processors, and if among this five, if it is one is going to fail, the remaining four processes will be able to manage it, and the remaining four processor will be able to contribute to the throughput of the entire system. So this one processor or one system not performing is not going to give a not going to give a big impact on the failure of the system. And again, when we go for multiprocess system, another important advantage what we can gain is the enhanced throughput. So you all know what is throughput. Throughput is nothing but the unit of work done in a given period of time, the amount of work done in a given period of time. And by having multiple processor, I am able to distribute the work among these processors, and all these processes are going to parallelly work together, and because of this it is possible to increase the total amount of work done in a given period of time. So we mean that the increase in throughput, and the number of processes getting executed per unit of time, if it is going to increase, processes also going to increase. The processor, we have multiple processor, and each processor taking care of the execution of a program is going to be called as a process, and by having multiple processor we are able to execute multiple processes, and thereby we are able to increase the overall throughput. And if we have n processor, all these n processor can be assigned with n process, and hence overall throughput is going to increase by the amount of n. Of course, this cannot be practically feasible all the time, because if the application is not going to enjoy or appreciate the concept of parallelism, then it is not possible to distribute. Suppose if the application can exploit more of parallelism, then we can distribute the work among the processes, and thereby we are able to increase the overall throughput. And of course, this particular multi-process system is going to be considered as an economic way, because they are cheaper. They are considered to be cheaper in the sense that they are going to share the data storage, and not only the data storage, the peripheral devices, the power supplies, the clock pulse is going to be shared. So it is going to operate in a synchronized fashion, and whatever the infrastructure, whatever the facilities we have, all these facilities can be shared by these processes, and thereby it is able to cut down the cost of expenses. Okay. And here we have different computer systems with multiple copies of data, and these multiple copies can be distributed by means of a shared memory. Though we have seen so many advantages of multiprocess systems, there are also some drawbacks or limitations in multiprocess systems. See, the first one is increased expense. I think it seems to be contradicting. Just now we have seen that it is cheap and expensive. It is cheap. Now we just say that it increased expense. Why? Because even though multi-process systems are cheaper in long run, in long run it is going to yield a cheaper expense, but still it is going to be quite expensive, because if the resources are not going to be shared properly, and if the workload is not going to be distributed uniformly, all the processes are going to be operated whether they need, whether they are required or not, they will be operated, and they will be consuming power. Unless otherwise an intelligent scheduling mechanism is available, we may not be able to guarantee a balanced workload. If the workload is not balanced among the processes, there is a possibility that the processes may be running without any output or without any outcome. So in that aspect, it may end up in an expensive solution, but in long run it is going to be cheaper. Then of course, to handle all these processes, we need a complicated operating system, in the sense that all these processes have to be synchronized to operate with each other, and they have to work in a synchronized fashion. That has to be ensured. So that is also going to be a kind of a limitation or a drawback. And of course, it is also a little bit complicated, because what part of processes has to use what part of resources. So the resource sharing and the context switching from one to another, so all these things have to be carefully taken care by the operating system. And if there is an exclusive operating system to take care of multi-processor environment, it is going to be okay. But whatever the operating system we are going to use, which we support for uniprocess system, the same operating system is going to be extended. In such cases, there could be some limitations in the operation. And so to summarize, we need some complex and also a complicated operating system in order to make the multiprocessor to work efficiently. And of course, large main memory is required, because if we have n processor, these n processors are going to share a common memory, and the common memory will have some free space. So I have to allocate free space for all these processes. So the capacity of the common shared memory has to be increased. So that's also going to be a kind of a limitation. Then we will just now see the characteristics of the multiprocessor. So the first definition already we have discussed. It is nothing but multiprocessor is a system in which we have connection of two or more CPUs. Here they mention two or more. There could be any number of processors. Usually, if it exceeds some number, then it is going to be many or multi. There will be some difference between multiprocessor and many processor based on the quantum of processors we are going to use. Okay, and this processor we always refer to as a central processing unit, can also be called as a processing element PE, or it can also be called as an input output processor. And this multiprocessor system has been classified into four categories by Flynn, scientist Flynn, and it is also referred as Flynn's classification. And he has given this classification as SISD, SIMD, MISD, and MIMD. What actually we mean by this? This first S stands for whether it is single, or if it is not single, it could be many, multiple. So M stands for multiple and S stands for single. And then coming to IS and DS, IS means instruction stream and DS means data stream. Okay, so now if you just expand the classification, SIST means single instruction, single data. Any computing system which is going to operate on single instruction and single data, that is first classification. And of course, we have the same instruction that to be operated on multiple data, like kind of array or vector processing elements. Then it comes under the category SIMD, that is single instruction, multiple data. And the next example, next classification is we have multiple instructions but only one data. That means you take a data A and B, and if you want to perform multiple operations on that, namely I have to add, so multiply, divide, subtract the same data, I have to perform all these operations. That means same data, single data, I am going to do multiple operations by means of multiple instruction, so which comes under the category MISD. And the last one is MIMD, which refers to both instruction also multiple and data also multiple. So as per the Flint's classification, the multiprocess systems are going to be classified as SISD, SIMD, MISD and MIMD, and our scope is not to discuss all these classifications in detail, just understand what is what. Now we have the concept of multiprocessor, and also we have the concept of multi-computer. So what is the similarity and what is the distinction between this multiprocessor and multi-computer? Now if we can take similarity, both are supporting concurrent operation. What I mean by concurrent operation, any operation if you are going to do at the same time. So even in multi-computers, we can have multiple operations done at the same time, and the same thing can also happen in multiprocessor also. But what is the difference between this multiprocessor and multi-computer? So multi-computer means they are single computer which are connected together to form a network. So everyone is going to be a kind of a single computer with single processor. Like this setup, we have multiple such computers, and they are going to be connected by means of a network. That is going to be called as multi-computer. Whereas in the case of multiple processor, we have only one computer, and in that we have multiple CPUs, and these multiple CPUs will be allowed to share the peripheral devices. Whereas in multi-computers, there will be separate set of devices, peripheral devices available. Now coming to the distinction, the network will contain autonomous computers. So in case of multi-computer, we have a network of computers, and all are going to be autonomous in nature. They will be operating on their own, and there could be a dedicated system which can try to control all the remaining, or everyone can control on their own. And the multiprocessor system is controlled by one operating system. If you take multiple processor, only one operating system, but in case of multi-computers, there could be different operating system loaded in different systems. And here they will be able to cooperate with each other by providing proper interaction between the processes. Okay, so there will be communication happening between the processes of one system to another system, and the multi-processing improves the reliability of the system. So that coming to the distinction between multiprocessor and multi-computer, in multi-computer we have autonomous computer. Each computer is capable of doing its function on its own, and the entire in case of multi-process system, everything is controlled by a common operating system, whereas here there can be independent operating system. And coming to the characteristics, multiprocessors, it will improve the reliability, that of course we have discussed as an important advantage, and also it is meant for improving the system performance, and the multiple independent jobs can be operated in parallel. I will be able to execute different tasks at the same time. And then the last point, okay. um, Multiprocessing can improve the performance by decomposing the program into parallel executable tasks, and we will be able to execute these tasks in parallel with the different parts of the computers. And there can be a compiler that can also automatically detect the parallelism in the user program. And of course, the way how we are going to organize the memory for the multiprocessor system, we can classify this multiprocessor as two types. One is called tightly coupled, another one is called as loosely coupled. So in the tightly coupled system, we have the concept of shared memory. So what we mean by shared memory is the memory is going to be common, and it is going to be shared across different processes, and that is going to be called as a tightly coupled processor. And it always tolerates a high degree of interaction. Whereas in the case of other system where we have the memory distributed, so the memory is distributed across the process, so it is otherwise called as loosely coupled system, and each processor can communicate with other by means of passing messages. In shared memory, they can get the information from the memory. If the memory is not shared, if they're going to operate on their own local memory, then it is going to be the interaction is going to be done by means of passing the messages. So we have just to discuss the characteristics of the multiprocessor. The classification is it can be tightly coupled or loosely coupled based on how we are just going to organize the memory, and anyhow it is going to do independent jobs operated in parallel, or it can be a single job that can be partitioned into multiple parallel tasks and can be operated in the different processes. So I think this completes a discussion of the multiprocessor characteristics, and then the advantages we have discussed, and the classification of this multiprocessor. The rest interconnection structures and other details we can continue in the next session. Thank you.